Bueno, os cuento un poquillo mi historia.
Hang on, time out. Where's your mic, monkey? Can you get her a mic? Because if you're going to do consecutive translation, you got to have a mic to do that. Un momentito.
He says hello.
Sois maravillosos.
You are
Maravillosas.
all amazing.
Pues desde hace unos 12 años... ¿Cómo? Mi nombre es Jerónimo. Desde hace unos 12 años que tenía arritmia.
12 years ago, he had arrhythmia.
Que es un tipo de desorden en el corazón.
It's a type of incoherent heart beating.
El corazón no va ordenado. Mi tipo de arritmia era fibrilación auricular.
His arrhythmia type gives some auricular fibrillation.
Very good.
Que es un tipo de arritmia que suele ser intermitente y le suele dar a personas de mayores de 65 años. Entonces, a mí me dio que tenía 30 años y...
So this symptom, he got it when he was 30 years old, but this type of arrhythmia usually appears on hearts after 65 years old.
Entonces me dio a mí que tenía 30 años y de forma constante, que no era nada habitual y los médicos no tenían ni idea de qué hacer. Entonces,
Doctors didn't know what to do and why it was happening to him at such a short age.
como iba acompañada a veces de ritmo acelerado, había peligro de trombo y se tenía que arreglar, no se podía dejar así como estaba.
So the danger was that it could turn into a thrombosis, so they had to stop that in any possible way.
Y entonces el primer experimento fueron descargas, que ahora no me acuerdo cómo se llama.
The first experiment was
Tiene otro nombre, cardioversión. Cardioversiones me hicieron. Me hicieron 2 que no funcionaron.
They did that, it didn't work.
So they hit him with the paddles to restart his heart.
Es como un reset del corazón.
Like resetting his heart.
Y no funcionó, entonces ya se programó una operación que me hicieron en Valencia.
And then it didn't work, so he was scheduled for a surgery on Valencia, another beautiful city in this country.
Yeah. Esta operación consistía en un cateterismo, entraban por la femoral, llegaban al corazón.
That next surgery was with a catheter that would go straight from his leg through the vein, one of the arteries, up into his heart.
Y consistía, la primera operación consistía en congelar unas venitas que salen del corazón hacia los pulmones.
So the first surgery consisted on freezing some little veins that go from the heart to the lungs.
Y estas venitas se llaman microvenosidades pulmonares y tienen como latido propio y hacen como una especie de contradicción al corazón.
These veins have their own beating.
Hicieron la operación 8 horas de operación, fue un éxito porque entré en ritmo sinusal.
8 hours of surgery, apparently a success.
Pero al cabo de un mes volví a estar igual.
But 1 month later, he came back to his old.
Entonces se programaron más descargas, más esto que he dicho antes, que no me acuerdo.
So more of those
Cardioversiones.
Paddles.
patterns.
Yeah, reset del corazón. Tampoco funcionaron, así que programamos una segunda operación también en Valencia.
So these other paddles didn't work. So another surgery was scheduled again in Valencia.
Como lo que decía antes, como todo el diagnóstico siempre es para personas mayores de 65 años, siempre me decían que la probabilidad, tanto en la primera operación como en la segunda, pues que no tenían ni idea, que era muy baja, no sabían exactamente si iba a funcionar. Vale.
And then always the doctor said, Jero, this is a 50-50 probability for this surgery. We really don't know if it's going to work.
Me operaron y no funcionó.
And it didn't work.
Más cardioversiones, tampoco funcionaron. Entonces ya me quedé pues con la arritmia. Lo que me dijeron es que, bueno, cuando se sume con taquicardia, tienes que venir corriendo al hospital, porque es peligrosa.
So he just decided to stay with his condition. The only warning that he got was if you start feeling tachycardia, then you have to run to an ER. Otherwise.
Entonces, cada vez que me emocionaba por cualquier cosa, acababa en el hospital. El año pasado, cada 2 semanas estaba en el hospital.
So every time he felt excited or he felt any elevated emotion, he ended up in the AR.
La última vez fue en Navidades.
Last time, this Christmas, 2018,
no funcionó nada, ningún antiarrítmico, y lo único que conseguimos bajar un poco las pulsaciones y me mandaron para casa.
he ended up in the AR. They gave him very strong drugs. That lowered a little bit the heartbeat, and he just had enough energy to go back home, but that was it.
Entonces, desde Navidades vengo con el ritmo desordenado, he tenido suerte de que no se ha acelerado. Y nada, cuando llegué aquí, el primer día me emocioné muchísimo.
So he came here, and the first day he was very, very excited.
Me vino taquicardia el primer día.
Of course, tachycardia appeared.
Me asusté, pensaba que tenía que ir al hospital.
He thought he would have to leave the event and go to the hospital.
Pero al día siguiente, en una de las meditaciones, se arregló.
But
Y tengo el corazón perfecto ahora mismo.
Now, let's talk about
So in the first day, he was very scared. On the second day, in the second meditation, remember when there was this strong wind that the ceiling was almost about to get off? He came back from that meditation sweating. He came to me and he tells me, I am healed.
un esempio di verità. Now, let's hablamos a little bit here. Could you translate for him while I talk in his ear? Now, men have a program to race, to compete, to provide, to connive, to climb on top, to get ahead. That's the program a man has. And when it goes against your nature, because it's not his nature to be that way, and you signal the fight or flight response, but you can't show weakness. You can't run. You can't fight. You can't hide. It's like stepping on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. So your heart's racing because the adrenaline is racing, and over time you start thinking about the things that cause you the arousal to cause your heart to race, and the addiction of that process begins to program the heart to run quickly, to have an arrhythmia, to run fast, to have tachycardia. Are you with me still? So then when he perceives events in his life where he would lose control, where he has the perception of things getting worse, when he can't predict what's going to happen in the next moment, or he gets in similar situations that are relative to the emotions that he experienced in the first place, the thought or the stimulus produces the automatic or autonomic response, no different than Pavlov ringing his bell and the dog salivating. It becomes autonomic or automatic. It's a conditioned response. Are you with me still? So the program is set, and his heart races like that, and he can't predict when it's going to happen. And when you can't predict it and you can't control it, and you have the thought it could happen at any time, it's those thoughts that actually kind of condition it to happen again. Are you with me still? And it's this kind of vicious loop of the snake eating its tail. So you can't have that if you master the present moment. You can literally reset the subconscious program. And he puts his attention in his heart, and it's safe enough in here for him to open his heart. He starts, the moment he starts doing that, his brain waves change. We've measured this thousands of times. Your brain waves change when you start opening your heart, and you start falling right into that autonomic nervous system. And he starts reconditioning his heart to move back towards coherence and balance. He's putting all his attention in there. He's teaching his body how it's safe now. It's safe. It's okay to breathe. And he keeps working and bringing it back to the present moment. And sooner or later, the body just goes, I like this a lot better than that. And it lets go, and there's a release of energy. And that release of energy can come in the form of sweating or heat or whatever, but it's an event. It's an inner event, and he knows in one moment during that inner event something has changed. He can't explain it. He just knows something happened in there that reset him in some way. Do you understand? So we could say then, if you keep your heart open, it'll keep beating. Would you say? And if you practice heart coherence, it makes sense then that your heart will come back to life. And it won't be in survival any longer. It won't be living in that program any longer. And it won't be racing in the way that it does when there's a perception of something getting worse or perception of something happening in our outer environment or not being able to predict or control the situation. He mastered that in some way. And he literally reset that program. He reset his baseline to a new level. And the research that's being done right now is showing that when the heart begins to open, when you truly start opening your heart, I said it sends a direct signal right up to the amygdala on both sides of the brain, the survival center of the brain, and it literally resets the baseline back to balance. So the survival center dials down back to normal instead of being strung really high or vigilant or overactive. How many people understand? And it could happen in one instant just like that, just by opening your heart. How many people understand? But I don't know about you, but I think he's beautiful. He is beautiful to me. And he's the example of truth. He healed a medical condition. How many attempts did they try on him? 5? Tried everything matter to matter. Matter to matter, chemistry, surgery, broken parts, missing pieces, trying to open up mechanical ways. And it was not matter, it was energy. And he filled his heart again with energy and moved out of survival. And he's probably way happier than he's been in a long time. And he will trust his heart a lot more because he won't go in that direction ever again. He learned from his experience. How many people understand? Jeronimo!